Hi there, my name is Amber Horsley, and it's my distinct privilege to share how amazing our God is with you. So most of the times, these videos, I kind of look through my little notes tab of things that, just over the past couple weeks and months, or things that just, I feel like God's kind of spoken to me, or just things that I think, can just be an encouragement to others. And other times they just kind of fall in my lap. And today was definitely one of those where it just fell in my lap. So the kiddos and I, we go to this event at our local museum where they do little learning activities, where they read a book about a certain animal and then we do a craft on them and all these things. And so we go regularly. And my kiddos in general do amazing every time. They sit, they're attentive, they're respectful, all the things. And then there's days where they're just like kids and they don't. And this was definitely one of those days. It just, both kiddos, both of them, just my son was not wanting to sit, wasn't wanting to be still, wanting to go run around, look at the train, look at this, look at that, and just lay and flop and all the things. And so just lots of me having to just get down at his eye level, talk with him, pull him over to the side, and just explain what I expect of him, how he can show respect to those around him, how he can show respect to the instructors, and just kind of calling him back to that over and over. And then my daughter, she loves to learn and she loves to be a leader and she loves to answer all the questions. And so, they're reading a book and she's answering every last one, or she'll kind of maybe speak out of turn too if there's something that she thinks would be beneficial to the conversation. She wants to be right up at front and center, and she, any craft activity, she wants to be a part of it, and she wants to pour into this and to help and be an active agent. And so all of those things were in full force. And, I can give excuses. I just kind of said, like, all those traits are amazing traits. I love her heart for learning. I love her desire for being independent and self-initiating and all those things. Love it. But all of it comes with needing self-control. And neither one of them had that as part of their mixture today. After the event was over, I pulled both kiddos aside and just kind of sat them down, and I looked at them and I'm like, I love you both dearly. And Mommy is disappointed in how you were both acting today. Neither one of you were choosing obedience, and neither one of you were showing respect and being lights. Mommy's disappointed because I know both of you, and I know your hearts, and I know how kind and loving you are. And unfortunately, how we were acting, other people weren't able to see that today. Baby girl, I know you love to answer the questions, and I love that you know so many of these different things, but also God calls us to be meek and to be humble and to serve others. Let others go before us. Make sure that whatever we're doing, we're thinking of others, making sure we're not sitting way in front of everybody, making sure that we're aware of who's around us and that everyone can see and everyone can participate. We're called to do these things because we're called to look different. We're called to be encouragers, and we're called to help others first. And so, it was one of those, every time that she started calling out a turn, or I'm just biting my tongue, trying to figure out a way that I can calmly call to her, bring her over, different things. So definitely did my mama heart be like, oh my goodness, that's my child. Absolutely. But more than that too, it's just I know each of these things are opportunities for me to point her back to God, and same thing with later when she was doing an arts and crafts with my mom, and she, my mama kind of said that she would just be a little disrespectful at times, things like that, because she wanted to do it herself. And that sounded very much, understandable and par for the course for her. She loves to do it herself. She loves to be independent. And I love that. I love that she wants to be independent. But it always needs to come with respect and kindness. Everything we do needs to be with kindness and gentleness. Whatever we say, however we act. And so I was telling my mom later, I'm like, am I glad that she was like that or that all these things happened? Absolutely not. But at the same time, it gives me an opportunity to stop, to pause, and to pull them in close and show them how we behave, how we think, how we discern, how we act in all these different situations. Because if they didn't happen, and if they were perfect at all times, which would be lovely, but then I don't have the opportunity to show them a different way, to show them another method of how to act and how to think. And that's the beautiful thing about in parenting. It's each opportunity and each situation that we have, if there is disobedience and defiance, or just, not having humility, not having these different traits that God has called us to, we can pause in those moments and then call them to action and show them the right way to respond to those things. Because how else would they know? They wouldn't know unless we teach them and we equip them. And so, those are moments that are not fun. And it was one of those that very much after we had that conversation and I pointed them to Christ and I talked about how their behavior was and how it definitely disappointed mommy, but that at that point, they were choosing that it's time to go. Oftentimes we would stay for a while afterward, but at this point, since they chose to not have self-control, mommy can't trust for them to have self-control and to act as lights the rest of the time we're there, so we'll have to leave. And so there's a natural consequence to our actions, to our behaviors. And then I can say though, my daughter for the rest of the day was trying to be more kind, be more intentional, like initially doing things to help me, doing things that she thinks would be extra kind. And so it's just, that's also my favorite, is I see that working in her. I see those wheels turning. And so, each of these moments when God sometimes plops something in my lap, it's like, they're perfect every other week, or they're so good, but this time they're not, because parenting doesn't stop. And I can make excuses because my mom's in town and this, and they've had less sleep and they have all the things. Like, there's so many excuses and they're valid, but that doesn't give an excuse or an opportunity for them not to still be a light. Because in life, there will always be excuses. There will always be reasons why we can't do what we did, or why we are misbehaving, or we're not following through on what we say. But at the end of the day, we're called to do the hard thing. We're called to do the right thing. And so if I can teach my kiddos to do that now, that's what I'm called to do. That's where parenting comes into play. And I'm thankful I get to do it.